Welcome, Super Formula fans from around the world, to the Round 7, Round 8 doubleheader, coming to you from Mobility Resort Motegi, the circuit celebrating its 25th anniversary in 2022. My name is Len Clark. Alongside me is former champion of this series, JP D'Oliveira. JP, how are you doing?
I'm good, Len. It's good to be back with you, and welcome to the viewers around the world. Another exciting round ahead of us, so really looking forward to this.
It's going to be a fantastic last two doubleheader weekends to the season. What a great way to keep the activity and the excitement going right to the very end. We've also got Leah Mizumura down in the pit lane, bringing us live action from when it's happening, where it's happening, all the way through the race. And we'll be checking in with her throughout the broadcast. Can you hear me, Leah?
Hey Len, JP, this is Leah from I'm here at Twin Link Motegi. It's actually Motegi Mobility Resort. I just came into Motegi yesterday. It was terrible. It was hot and humid, but today it's much cooler and it's actually easier to spend on the pit lane right now. And I'll get back to you as soon as I get information from the pit. Back to you.
Great stuff. Thanks very much indeed, Leah. And we've been given a notice that the qualifying session will start some 15 minutes after it was originally prescribed. So we will have some time to chat and go over what's happened so far after the first 6 rounds of this most exciting 2022 season. JP, of course, you remember the doubleheader from Fuji Speedway at the start of the season. Very, very exciting indeed. That's where we saw, of course, the consistency and the pace of Nojiri on that weekend, coming second and first from those 2 rounds. And he's just continued that consistent pace with results throughout the first 6 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Nojiri has, he has been consistent, and mostly qualifying has been his main strength compared to his main rival, Hirakawa. Hirakawa's had to fight back in the races mostly because his qualifying positions have not been as up as where he would like to be in qualifying, and it's usually recovery races for him, but he's been really, really strong recovering in those races. So, imagine if he can start closer and more to the front. Yesterday he had the pace in practice, so this time around he's looking better. But Super Formula qualifying sessions are, always changing in the last second. Drivers are putting in better and better times as the session is coming to an end, and it's always very competitive. So we'll see, how he will fare in qualifying today. But yeah, these two, that's the main difference between them at the moment. Nojiri is super strong in qualifying, Hirakawa super strong in the race. So
yeah, absolutely, well said. Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, Nojiri's 4 qualifying, 4 pole positions in a row is just remarkable. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so looking forward to this. Obviously, last round, Team Impo was also very, very strong. Sekiguchi was leading the race and had that, that failure, that mechanical failure, which the wheel just came off when he was coming out of the chicane at Fuji Speedway. So that was a big blow for them. A lot of team championship points lost there, but
absolutely,
yeah.
And they both retired from that race, of course, Hirakawa as well, and that was so unfortunate for Sekiguchi. Of course, it allowed Sasahara to go ahead and take his first victory, well-deserved one. I mean, it was somewhat inherited, one might argue, since Sekiguchi was completely in control of the race until that wheel got loose, or parted ways, shall we say. So,
exactly, but also, remember, that moment when the full course yellow came out, and then that was the moment when Sasahara actually took charge, came into the pits, and himself and a couple of other drivers benefited from that position, and they pit right at the right moment, and that changed the whole story of the race.
True enough, absolutely. And but he took full advantage of the situation at hand and ran it to the flag, and a well-deserved victory. I'd love to see him with one more victory in the season. That would cement his reputation, because it's easy to forget that it's actually his first full season. So his results have not been that bad. Of course, he hasn't had it go exactly the way he wants, but still, and he's not got the consistency of his teammate, but not so bad. If he could pull off another win, I think that would be very impressive.
Absolutely, yeah. He for sure has the reference on Nojiri, and yeah, for sure that will be, you know, he will be more motivated now, knowing he has a victory. That's a weight off his shoulders. So it'll be interesting to see how he will go from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a few really interesting things that have happened so far this season. As I was saying earlier, 3 maiden victors so far from our 5 different winners this year. And of course, the first of them was Nobuharu Matsushita back at Suzuka in round 3 in the rain. And of course, followed by Sasha Fenestras in round 5 at Sugo. And then, of course, last time at Sasahara. But excellent for those 3 guys to break their ducks. And of course, Hirakawa has taken 2 victories alongside Nojiri's 1 win. So it's all been very close at the top, and it's all been very exciting. There are a few drivers that have really shone. I mean, it's obviously, as you say, it's Hirakawa and Nojiri way out front. But with Fenestras' win in round 5, he's brought things back, and now it's a 3-way fight. And I wouldn't even count out Nitomo Miata, the number 37 Tom's driver, who is also in his first full season. He's done very well. He's been impressive on a number of occasions so far this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mihata has been definitely very strong. He had a few opportunities where he really showed his pace, and he's been consistent also in qualifying. So he's definitely having a really good rookie year. And I think, you know, he's a guy that once he picks up that, you know, momentum, probably towards the end of the season and into next year, he will be one of the guys fighting for the championship. Absolutely. And as you were speaking about Sasha before, and Sasha is, you know, was very unfortunate the last time around, you know, in that accident. That was definitely, I mean, that was something horrible that happened. We never want to see accidents like that, where a car loses control into such a high-speed area of the track. And, you know, they had to rebuild his car for this race. So rebuilding his car for this race, you know, this Super Formula car is a car that, you know, you get confidence in and you get used to it. And once everything changes, they're all new, that can change the way you feel the car, that can change the balance in general. And I think that's something that Sasha was yesterday getting used to, like, you know, playing with the car again, because I think it's probably not exactly where he wants it to be. And so he struggled a little bit for pace yesterday in free practice, so we'll see how he goes in qualifying.
See how comfortable he's gotten with the car, or how different it might be. That's a good point. Since that horrific accident, which of course split the car in 2, and we don't want to see things like that. You're absolutely right. There have been a number of other really impressive moves from various other drives throughout the first 6 rounds. Of course, it's interesting to see that Makino, Tanaske Makino, the Dandelion driver, is 5th, and it's again from some consistency, and he's shown some great driving, although he's been the victim of a couple of spins as well in these first 6 rounds. But he's somebody to watch, in my opinion. And conversely, his teammate Otsu, only 12th at the moment, and so, you know, he was 21's Rookie of the Year, and he did well, and he had a win, but he hasn't really shone yet this year. He hasn't really shone, but we still have 4 rounds to go. There's still time for him to do just that.
I agree with you. Makino has definitely been very, very strong this season. You know, we underestimate, actually. I mean, the top 2 have been such a league of their own, and with Sasha also closing up that gap, the 3 of them really have stood out in the beginning of the year. But Miata, Makino, Sasahara, especially in qualifying. Sasahara has really been a standout qualifying in the beginning of the season.
Sure.
So I think, you know, some drivers here have a real potential to just come up and fight for the championship. They need to find consistency. They need to find that balance between being strong in qualifying and having a good racecraft. Having a good racecraft in Super Formula is key, is what Ryo Hirakawa is like, is showing in this season. So racecraft is everything.
Absolutely, and Miata too is very consistent with many fifths, thirds, fourths, and a couple of third place results. But we're coming back to close to getting back to our broadcast schedule, and we'll be getting an announcement in just a moment as to when we proceed. In the meantime, we have the, we have the top 8 are split by 73 points. Nojiri is just so far out ahead. I mean, each race weekend, folks, these double headers, there is a total of 46 points on offer, don't forget. So things can turn around. But if consistency is anything to go by, Nojiri is going to bag a haul of points this weekend and again at Suzuka toward the end of the year. So
yeah, what's making a difference also, Len, is that Nojiri has a 13-point gap from qualifying results only. So 4 pole positions, that means 12 points plus an extra point for a third place in qualifying. So that makes a difference as well.
That does, absolutely. So we are just about ready to pause and begin the regular broadcast in just a matter of seconds. Welcome, Super Formula fans, to the qualifying session for round 7 of the 2022 Super Formula Championship. We are coming to you from Mobility Resort Motegi, where all the action will take place over 2 37-lap races this weekend at the 4.801 kilometer track in Motegi. All sorts of excitement planned ahead. We've got the team here, of course. My name is Len Clark, and alongside me is JP De Oliveira, 2010 Drivers Champion in the series. We've also got Leah Mizumura down in the pit lane, bringing us all the live action as it happens, from where it happens. So we'll be checking in with her a few times throughout the broadcast. JP, you got any comments?
Yeah, hello, Len. Hello to the viewers around the world. Motegi this time around, yeah, another exciting weekend ahead. Let's see who comes out on top. I'm very excited to see, yeah, a few drivers this time around, but yeah, let's get to qualifying.
Let's get to qualifying indeed. Taking a look at the point standings, it's Tomoki Nojiri well out ahead with 93 over his nearest rival Ryo Hirakawa on 64, followed by Sasha Fenestras on 57, and Nitomo Miata, the Tom's driver, taking 40 points so far. Following on is Makino and 36 points, and Sasahara on 30, with Nobuharu Matsushita 21 and Chosuboy in 8th place on 20 points. We've got second place man Ryo Hirakawa's interview coming up in just a couple of seconds as we go through the rest of the points rankings. 20 of 21 drivers have scored points so far in the first 6 rounds of this 10-race season. Coming up, we should have Hirakawa's interview, although that is definitely the front of Nojiri's machine. So looking at his dominance, look at those 4 pole positions in a row from rounds 2 through round 5. And of course, he qualified 3rd last time out in round 6 and gained another qualifying point there in addition to the 12 he took for those 4 pole positions. And you can see the difference to Hirakawa, who has taken 2 wins to Nojiri's 1 victory, but still these two are well out ahead of the rest, with the fast chasing French-Argentinian Sasha Fenestras hot on their heels with 57 points, but it's really a battle between these top 3 guys at the moment. This weekend is quite special, just like rounds 1 and 2 at Fuji. Oh, here we are. Thank you, Ryo Hirakawa. Let's take a listen.
Great race because we finished at turn 1, lap 1, and didn't score any points, and then championship became even more difficult. So yeah, last race was tough one. Championship wise, yeah, the gap to Nojiri-san is still huge or even more. So yeah, this Motegi, the 2 races in Motegi will be very important. That yeah, we are always good in Motegi. So yeah, we try to to make the gap closer. Definitely, we try to win both two races, and yeah, then try to make the gap closer to Suzuka.
Well, you can understand Hirakawa's disappointment when both of their cars went out at the last round. He is certainly one of the people to watch, and as we've been talking, himself and Nojiri are streets ahead of the rest. It is certainly disappointing, and I can see on this weekend such a large points haul. They'll be going for as much as they can get. What do you think, JP? Where do you think they'll end up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for Hirakawa, it's difficult to go head-to-head in the championship with a guy like Nojiri, who's been so consistent and scoring points and podiums at nearly every race. So you want those points to be more split between all drivers in the field if you're fighting, like if you have a bad race like Hirakawa. But all those points are going to Nojiri because he's staying consistent at, top 3 almost every time around. So this makes his situation much worse if he retires like it was last time around. So now he needs very strong results from here. Probably luck coming his way as well to close that gap to Nojiri. So it's a tough battle for him.
Yeah, he's certainly had, I think, the best racecraft of any driver this year so far. His battles have been so exciting. He's becoming a more well-rounded driver all the time, in my opinion, but just super. Nojiri is miles ahead, but if Nojiri wasn't around, Hirakawa would be running away with it, absolutely. So we're just getting ready to see Toshiki Oyu and his onboard from the free practice session this morning, which should be starting in just a second. He topped the timesheets and also set a 1:31.221, which was listed as a qualifying record at the time. There he is, preparing for the lap. And here he goes. This is the start of it as we go into the timing.
So Len, approaching here, turn 1. Very, very important that you have a good exit here because you have another straight coming into turn 3. And here, braking, so important. Brake late, get the car turned at the right time and pick up the throttle, but don't go too much over that exit curve. You can really lose the car over there. It has a very smooth lap to this point. Here, again, braking, so important. Nail the braking and get that front turn and power on. It's all about braking, turning and going. It's all about that sharp turn in and having good rear for the exits. Here, the highest speed part of the circuit, the S1 and S2, very important to carry the speed. That's the only point of the track that you carry the speed, really. And here, again, another, you see the rear wants to come out there. And here he comes to the slowest part of the track, the hairpin leading out to the back straight. See, it's very tight there. Get a good exit, just a little bit of traction, losing a little bit of traction, and you head downhill for the fastest part of the track. Another very, very hard braking here in a 90-degree corner before you go under the bridge. Get a good exit, and a very tricky last section here. Left, right for the last corner. Yeah, I mean, you want to get close to the curve to see how he lost the traction there in the exit. That was enough to go fastest yesterday. Qualifying, I don't think you can afford to go with an oversteer in that last corner like that, or you will lose out to someone in qualifying. That's how close qualifying sessions are here. But this track is very technical. Probably the most technical for these cars because you gotta nail that braking, you gotta have a good turn in, and you need that traction.
All those 90-degree corners certainly are a big test for braking, I think. And that's what leads to the stop-start nature of the description of the track, of course. So looking ahead, introducing some more of the drivers. This is, we're looking back at the practice session for the moment, actually. And as you can see, Toshiki Oyu topped the timesheets with that 1:31.221. And it was recorded as a track record in qualifying here, for Super Formula. So we'll confirm that. It should come up at some point. But he's followed by Sho Tsuboi, who hasn't really shown the performance that he was destined to really in rounds 1 and 2. We all expected so much after preseason testing, where he basically topped almost all of the timesheets, all of the sessions, but he hasn't been quite there since, in my opinion. What do you think, JP, is causing that?
You know, it can be, you know, like, I mean, winter testing can always be a little bit misleading because you have very different temperatures from what you're used to during the season, different characteristics of driving and tire warm-up, for example. So the setup can work in a different way. You know, and when you're coming into the season, there's always the added pressure of getting the right lap at the right time with traffic and so on. So things change, you know, during the race season. So it's not unusual to see drivers going faster in winter testing and then struggling throughout the year.
Right.
So,
Well,
but
we've got Q1 Group A up on the screen, just for those of you who are not familiar. This will be the first group, 11 cars, sorry, 10 cars, and Group B will have 11 cars. There is a 10-minute session for Group A. We will then have a 5-minute break. Then Q1 Group B takes to the circuit for its 10-minute session. And then we'll have another 5-minute break. And after that, we will have Q2, where the top 6 from each session go battle head-to-head for a 7-minute session that sees out the top 12 spots on the grid. For those of you wondering, where does everybody else slot in? Well, 7th in Q1 becomes 13th on the grid.
Every time it's quite challenging.
We've got
especially
Ukyo
Super
Sasahara
Formula
interview. Let's take a listen.
It's really tight on the competition and everyone fighting within the tens. So that is most exciting weekend, I think, especially for the championship-wise. That this is now penultimate round. So yeah, but yeah, I think will be fun as always. This is a Super Formula, so.
Fun indeed. So he's on obviously a high from his result in round 6, his maiden win, of course, and he's got the pace, as you were saying, JP, and of course a great qualifier. Let's see how he does today, and it could be good. As we were saying earlier, it is his maiden season. There's a lot to come from this guy, I'm sure of it, and I'm quite excited to see how he ends off the season.
yeah, definitely has a good reference also on Nojiri. So Nojiri being a champion, and you know he definitely has that point of reference on next to him on the garage, and that's always good to have. And yeah, himself, he's a very good qualifier. He's proven this year. Earlier in the season.
It hasn't always worked out off the line, but he's a great qualifier,
yeah.
and you know, mistakes happen, so it's all to play for. And yeah, in these last 4 rounds, let's see what he can do. As I was saying before, one more victory would really cement the fact that he does have the pace, and we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. So in this group here, I think yeah, the ones to really look out for will definitely be, of course, Sasahara. Hirakawa really, you know, he really needs a good qualifying here to, to ramp up that chase to Nojiri in the championship. So hope he has a good qualifying here. But there could be some big surprises here.
There could be indeed.
Yeah.
And the 10 cars in this session, since I haven't mentioned it, they start with Kenta Yamashita, of course. There's Otsu, Hiroaki Otsu, Ukyo Sasahara, we just saw. There's Kunimoto, Hirakawa, Nitomo Miata, as we just saw. Nitomo Miata, as I said, Matsushita, of course, Ben Sato, and Oyu bringing up the 10. And I missed Sakaguchi. There we go. And these 10 start. And of course, it's like in every other round where it's the game of the late qualifiers, or the people who got latest on the most rubber end track that seem to do the best. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, that, you know, I mean, we've seen recently in qualifying the drivers going out for, for a warm-up of their car first, and then I don't know if that's going to be the case this time around, but usually the last few rounds, some drivers go out on a used set of tires from free practice and then come into the pits. So they have the car warm, you know, they warm up the brakes and they just warm themselves up in this warm-up lap before they actually put the fresh tire in for their attack lap. And Motegi, it's pretty much a 1-lap attack circuit. You know, it's a long lap, so it's very important to get everything right. You have that traction, the peak of the traction you have for a lap. If something goes a little bit wrong in 1 lap, you're definitely not gonna match that on your second attack lap. So it's important to get everything right.
Oh, right. So you really, it's It's truly a one-shot deal. And so they'll be going out to basically understand the current conditions of the car on this run, come back in, bolt on some new tires, and then do a blaster toward the end of the session.
Yeah, I would think so. You see, they're all kind of close together. Normally, they don't want to be like this. So yeah, so they're all coming into the pits. It's a bit of a warm-up, you know. I mean, some guys stay out. Some guys are more comfortable actually doing another warm-up lap and then coming in with, like, say, 6 minutes to go, and they put the fresh tire. By the time they cross the line to start their flying lap, there's going to be about 2 minutes left on the clock, and then they have a time for basically 2 laps, that lap and then another extra one if something goes wrong. So it's yeah, it's close, but you know, it's all about, you know, what you feel comfortable with, what you discuss with your engineer, what your experience is. So I'm pretty sure they all have that strategy ready already.
Right. Fascinating. As we break down to the 7-minute mark, and most of the cars are back in. Let me just check the live time here. Most cars are back in, or well, 7 of them are back in. And so when this session ends in 7 minutes time, we'll have that 5-minute intermission before Group B takes to the circuit. And then we will have a 10-minute break before Q2 gets underway. And that will be for the top 12 cars, top 6 from each of the Group A and Group B groups. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens as we get closer down to the end. And do you think, well, the track temperature, they just listed as 5 degrees, quite warm, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it would be good to have a word from Leah about the track temperature. I'm not quite sure what the track temperature is right now, but it does not seem too hot. I mean, usually summer here can be, you know, pretty hot and humid, but it does not look so today from what we heard Leah earlier this morning.
Right. Leah, can you hear us?
Yes, Len, JP, this is Leah from the pit lane. And as JP says, this is much easier to spend at the pit lane today compared to yesterday. It's much cooler, and sometimes I can even feel the breeze. And then yesterday, I talked, just for your information, yesterday I just talked to a chief engineer from Honda, Saiki-san. He was saying, he said he was amazed by OU's speed in the free practice yesterday. So OU is going to be one driver to watch for sure. I'll get back to you for my information later. Back to you.
Thanks, Leah. Very informative. And that's true. He did beat the pack by what, some quarter of a second, wasn't it? It was a huge gap.
Yeah,
so,
he had. And still, we could see the lap on the onboard view just moments ago, and we could see that he was still not a perfect lap. He was fighting the car with the rear in the last corner. So I think he can even improve on that. So he's going to be a strong contender for pole position today, as is this man here, Ryo Hirakawa, for sure. You know, needs a good result. So some strong names in this group. Yeah, let's see. We're coming out to the final 5 minutes now.
Final 5 minutes as we look over the previous pole position holders here. What a roster, including, of course, Pato Award from a couple of years back, 3 years back, and great result there. How things have changed over the last few years, and we've only got a couple of overseas drivers right now, but how things change season to season, eh? And it's all so exciting as we see them go out for their last full-on attack. We'll see them do an acclimatization lap before running their first attack lap. And that will give them enough time to run a second attack lap if need be. Preference being, of course, to run only one and make it count.
Yeah, so now you see cars are, you know, close to each other. They all want to leave a gap. So from this point on, it's all about, yeah, just finding that position on track where you're comfortable with. If you know, you have to go out of the pits at your own pace. You cannot push too much, because if you push too early when the tires are not ready yet, you can damage the tires. You can, you know, you can have a flat spot or so, and you know, it's very important to get out, warm them up properly, and then have that attack. But you know, you want the space. You want to have a clear track ahead of you, and it's the case for everyone. So it's not always easy, but that's what they're looking for. We see
a little bit more space.
Matsushita now seems to be the first one to approach what is going to be his attack lap, because he's been out there for a couple laps warming up. So I believe he's going to start his attack as he crosses the line.
To go. Yeah. As he comes down the back straight before the final 90-degree right-hander, and under the super speedway for the second time. Now we see Hirakawa on the main straight, so he's 240. So he's top the timesheets for now with a 153.326, and of course Matsushita has gone 10 seconds better, 143.483.
Yeah, you see the light just blinking on top of his car.
Oh yes,
so
the Q light, of course. This is new for 2022. Oh, please go ahead, JP. It's.
Yeah, so that's a new thing for this year. So they have that light flashing so that it's informative and it lets the drivers ahead who are looking out in their mirrors recognize that someone is coming on a flying lap behind them. So he's got a car in front of him now. Let's hope that he just gets out of the way on time. Here would be a good point, just under, but he's not getting past there. Will be interesting to see whether he could pass before the S's or that lap could go wrong for him.
Indeed. It's all about positioning on track, and of course he was certainly making pace on the...
Yeah, he just made it.
He's taken 28 seconds out of his last attempt around, but we'll see. This will be his first representative lap. But he surely would have been delayed. Was it Makino he just went past? Or
yeah, he just. I think he had to drive the high-speed S corners behind Makino. So he, to me, looks like he would have lost time in this lap due to that traffic from Makino. So he might have to push another lap.
And he has the time, but will he have the grip? There's still 1 minute and 7 seconds to go in the session. And Matsushita does a 1:30.328. Not too shabby. Very good indeed. Considering the delay. So seriously good pace. And his next nearest attacker is Hirakawa with a 1:37.694. Some 6 seconds off. We're down to the last few seconds. And of course, they all get to come across the line. So there's lots to see yet, but it's all going to change in the next 30 seconds to minute. Last 20 seconds now, and we see it's Matsushita still on top with Hirakawa second, Oyu third.
Yeah,
but these guys are not setting competitive times. We need them all to come around one more time.
We see Hirakawa now going faster in sector 1 and 2, but Otsu just went faster than him in sector 2. So track grip is also improving by this point, and we can expect a very competitive ending here.
Absolutely, it's gonna switch around. Matsushita's time is pretty decent though, although
now Sasahara going faster off them all in sector 1 and 2.
Oh yes, very much so. 4/10ths quicker.
So we have Hirakawa getting second place at the moment, just behind Matsushita.
1:31.452, very quick time. And into the 1:30s, it's Otsu, who was holding up Matsushita a moment ago. 1:30.958. Fantastic. And beating that, amazing, it's Oyu with 1:38.40. Fantastic.
Sasahara.
And Sasahara eclipses the pair of them with a 1:37.19. How many more? Any more can beat this? Here is Nen Sato. Not quite. He ends up sixth. 1:31.522, not improving on his previous time. This is Miata, just about to finish his lap, and he will score a 1:31.439. Good enough for sixth at the moment, and he deposes Hirakawa for the moment, who we've got on screen. And Is Hirakawa still on an attack lap? Yes, he is. So he's got one more chance. Hopefully, he can drag himself out of that seventh position.
He's slowed down already.
Oh, he's slowed. Yeah. Unfortunate. That is unfortunate. That's disastrous, actually. He will start a best of 13th on the grid after the Group B guys go through. So we expect. So
that's again another, it's another one of those blows for Team Impo in qualifying, because yesterday showed so much pace in free practice, and Hirakawa has been strong here this time around. So, does things change for them in the morning? Like it's just something that's just haunting this qualifying position for him, and fighting Nojiri in the championship is crucial that he gets to Q2. So he will have to do another recovery race. It's very difficult. So this is a two race weekend. So for sure, we'll be looking at what went wrong today in qualifying for tomorrow, and hopefully pass into Q2. But yeah, disappointing for him to not get through.
Yeah, it's really disappointing and quite surprising, but certainly it's not the first time it's happened this season. It's almost not a pattern. I don't want to say a pattern, but it has happened before. That's disappointing. But as you've said, he's come back in the races, but still such a hard job to do. And if he could only qualify higher up, he'd be that much closer to Nojiri in the end.
The times have been very close between Yamashita and Miata as well.
And here we see the times, and there are 3 guys in the 130s, with Sasahara leading the group, 137.19, and Toshiki Oi second with a 138.40, followed by Otsu. And then in the 131s, Matsushita 4th, Kenta Yamashita in 5th, Nitomo Miata in 6th, followed by Hirakawa 7th, Ren Sato, Yuji Kunimoto, and Sena Sakaguchi rounding out the first group of 10. Although his time is quite 132.328 is well back, and what is it, 7/10 slower than Kunimoto in 9th. So I'm not sure what happened there, but not the best time for him. So we're looking at Group B now, and who's coming up in Group B. And okay, it's Nojiri, it's Sasha, it's Makino, it's Kobayashi, it is Fukuzumi, it's Oshima, it is Sekiguchi, it is Giuliano Alessi, it is...
we are struggling a little bit so far this weekend.
To listen to Sasha.
When you have a new car, things are quite different. The car stiffness is very different. So it's going to be a hard weekend for us, I think. Physically, it's okay, it's fine. I mean, I think you always need to be ready for these kind of situations, because we have 2 races in the hottest month of the year, which I never understood why, because it's always the hottest weekend of the year. Of course, Motegi, it's generally a track where it's difficult to overtake, so having 2 races in these kind of tracks, it's not a shame. Of course, it's very nice, but I think if we could have 2 races in another track than this one where you can overtake a lot, it will have been a lot nicer. Without thinking about Fuji, last proper race Sugo was very good. Fuji Super GT was also very good. I had my first time in Formula E last weekend, so it's being very nice. So hopefully we can do something very nice also this weekend.
All right, as we get ready for Group B. Leah.
I talked to Sasha yesterday, and then he was saying he didn't have a chance to attack in the pre-practice yesterday. He wore the new tires, but after that he had a problem. He had to go back to the pit, and so he couldn't really attack with the new tires. So as his interview, he was kind of worried about his new chassis, but let's see what's going to happen to him. Back to you.
Thanks, Leah. That's a good point. Let's see how he does. And maybe he was taking things a tiny bit easy this morning. Who knows? But he generally qualifies well. But maybe we'll see a big difference today. Who knows? But as it stands, we've got Tomoki Nojiri on screen and leading this group of 11, followed by Sasha Fenestres, Kasuke Makino, Kamui Kobayashi, and Hirei Fukuzumi at the top, 5 on the screen, followed by Kazuya Oshima, Yuhi Sekiguchi, Giuliano Alessi, Joe Tsui, Atsushi Miyake, and Naoki Yamamoto. So the course record, as it says there, 1:29.061, set by Nojiri last year. And let's see if he can eclipse that this year. It is faster, of course, than the 1:31 mentioned earlier. So we'll take that as the Formula Track record. JP, do you see any featureful things from this group? Anything different from the other side? I mean, obviously we've got our driver's champion leading the pack, but do you think he can eclipse his teammate over in Group A, Sasara?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually better to be in the second group because you see things happening in the first group that you can just learn from, and especially teammates. You'll be comfortable if your teammate went fast in the first group. You know that car, that setup is working well. So I think Nojiri, I feel that he has the confidence and he should be strong, should be very strong towards the top. Sekiguchi, if he can carry over that qualifying form from last time around, he's been strong at Motegi in the past, so expect him to be strong. Sasha, after yesterday's, practice with his new car, things feel different. Will he be able to, put everything together in qualifying now? It's, I can completely understand his situation of just coming to a race weekend where things are, you're driving a new car and, you spend sometimes months and a whole season races and races and races just getting used to and and making slight changes to the car to what you like, and then suddenly you have a new car and you have to do everything over and over again. So yeah, I mean, we'll see if Sasha can improve from yesterday. Yeah, there's many interesting ones in this group. Alesi, of course, want to see him qualifying better than he has been able to this year. Makino, Suboi, Yamamoto, Miyake, Kobayashi, Fukuzumi, and Oshima. So, there's always surprises here. So let's see the final 6 minutes.
Let's see, indeed. Absolutely. I'm sure Makino will be quick. He certainly has shown flashes of pace throughout the year, and it hasn't quite come together in the results, although he has been somewhat consistent. But interesting indeed. We're down to just under the 6 minute mark as we look at our reigning champion, Tomoki Nojiri's the front of his car, and as he gets prepared to go out on his second run, they're just putting the what do you call it, the airbox in there, to cool the airbox, and just getting ready for him to go out. As we see, this must be Sasha, of course, in the number 4 Kondo Racing entry. He is the first of the pack to head out, and it may be a strategic move. So it might just be to give him an extra lap. We'll see how he acclimatizes. He appears to be, yes, the only one on track at the moment. And in addition to Sasha's victory in round 5, he has been very consistent, and of course, and that's why he's third in the points. But he has been more consistent than Hirakawa, actually. Although Hirakawa has put in some storming drives almost every round. He's been the most impressive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Hirakawa has 2 wins so far this season, which is most than anyone so far. So, as we mentioned earlier, Hirakawa has strong racecraft, but it is, I mean, with qualifying, getting dropped out of Q1 every race, I mean, as has been the case recently, it makes his race so much harder because you just have to change your strategy. You sometimes rely on some luck from full course yellows and safety cars and so on. So these things, are not things that you want to rely on when you're fighting for a championship. You just want to be fighting in terms of pace. You want to be strong in qualifying and have a problem-free race starting from the
Absolutely.
front. So
you want things performance-oriented, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's something they definitely have to work on.
Absolutely.
There goes Sasha, and then that's Kondo-san.
There's Kondo-san, his boss, and patiently looking on. We're down to the 3.5 minute mark. No competitive time set yet, but we don't expect it to happen for another little while.
So Sasha is the first car out. So you see, he's got the clear track ahead of him. So question is, there's some cars that are coming out of the pits, just that came out of the pits before. So hopefully he would not get anyone slowing down. Sometimes that's the case when you're the first attacker. You sometimes get the end of the queue who are waiting for it to start their flying laps.
And that can completely
Yeah.
stymie your progress. Absolutely. So ruins the strategy.
Making sure to warm those tires properly. He knows how important it is. Motegi, I have memories of this kind of situation where you have a fresh morning like this, you have new tires on, and you have a clean track ahead of you. It's like a dream scenario. Like you really go out, you warm them up, and you have that grip that it's just, it's the next thing to Formula One, really. Like it's a grip level
absolutely.
that
It must be unbelievable.
It's a grip level. It's an incredible amount of grip that you have, and you have to have that trust and that confidence in the car. So yeah, now we see drivers here fighting for position out of the pits. You see this battle here. This is so tricky, You see, like they're almost racing for position.
So at least with the leading car, he's out in clear air and doesn't even have to worry about it. Nestras has just set a 1:42.811. We've got 1:38 left on the clock. He'll be
we see Nojiri has traffic here. So what's going to happen? He has to back off, but you see Alesi coming in the back as well. So they all have to back off at some point here. And sometimes they start playing games. Sometimes one wants to overtake the other before the line, and that can get tricky. So
they're going to run out of time.
Yeah, it can run out of time. So Nojiri just, waiting here, hoping that Alesi also behind him does not get impatient and try to go ahead of him.
Too close. Yeah.
But yeah. And Sasha on his lap.
And he's on an attack lap now. You can see it.
He had a very good sector 1 and 2 so far, so matching the first group. So it does look like he's comfortable in the car today. Let's see the end of this lap.
Yeah, he's definitely eclipsed them all in terms of speed as well. About 10 kilometers
yeah, and you see
an hour faster.
There are cars that are slow in the last sector, but he didn't get on his way. He's just ending his lap now. It's going to be into the 130s. 131.1.
131.1. Just a little bit slower than I expected, but maybe by a tenth or two. But still, he's topping this group for the moment. Of course, next up, Kovash's time of 1:44.013 is not really a competitive time, and we will see that eclipse, and he'll definitely be on another one. Yamamoto's getting up to the 1 minute mark now, and how will he do compared to Fenestras's 1:11? And that's when he just comes to the 90-degree corner prior to going back under the super speedway. Nojiri betters his time again. And Nojiri coming around. What will he net? So Yamamoto quite impressive with his fourth place, 1:31.254, but now it is Nojiri 1:30.743. That is impressive indeed. Granted, he is the record holder here from last year, that 1:29.061, so it's considerably quicker time under different weather conditions, I'm sure. Here comes Yuji Sekiguchi, and what will he net here? Sekiguchi goes second, so there's some consolation for Hoshino-san there. 1:31.056, netting the Impel driver, second in this group. As we get Q2, Makino is currently third, with Sugoi fourth, Finestras 5th, and Naoki Yamamoto, his impressive 131.254, still standing for 6th. And that is about a quarter of a second ahead of Kamui Kobayashi in 7th, followed by Atsushi Miyake in the number 55 machine, Giuliano Alessi, and there's Kazuya Oshima, and Fukuzumi rounds out the 11, the group of 11. 214s. Not sure what happened there, but definitely he didn't get an attack lap in before the end of Group B. So while it's no big surprise that Nojiri would top the group, in fact, it would have been a surprise if he didn't. It wasn't, of course, Hirakawa who came second, but it was Hirakawa's teammate Sekiguchi who took the second spot with a 1:31.056, a very impressive time indeed, just ahead of Makino, and of course, there's Tsuboi and then Sasha in 5th. And those times were, they've eclipsed the times from this morning.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, Nojiri's top at the moment is not so surprising considering, also Kiyosa's aerospace in Group 1. Sekiguchi going through in 2nd. So Hirakawa will be scratching his head, because that's worrying for him, I mean, he should have got more out of that qualifying for himself. But then, we have Makino in 3rd, Tsuboi, and then Sasha going through. So important step for Kondo Racing and Sasha, and Yamamoto
Definitely.
in 6th.
Yeah, and we see 4 cars now with 4 cars. Sorry, there we've gotten 1 car in the 130s. Excuse me, as the screen flips over. We've got so now it's coming up to, well, let's see. That's Group B results: 137.43, eclipsing the rest of the field for Nojiri there, and staying well out ahead of those others that all started with a 131, led by, as we saw, Sekiguchi and the number 19 Impel machine. We've got a break now for a few minutes before we get ready for Q2, and that will feature the top 6 drivers from Group B and, of course, the top 6 from Group A. So we'll get that on screen in just a couple of minutes, and it's all to play for in Q2A. JP, I mean, it's really, they get to Q2 and then it's absolutely the one-shot deal. And this is where it's all to play for, and it absolutely counts. You think that in the time from Q1 to Q2, there's hardly any temperature change. It's not really going to make much difference, is it? The track may be a little bit more rubbered in. Would there be any other differences that would make any difference?
Yeah, actually, I was surprised that the times in the B group were not faster than the A group. Normally, you would expect the B group to go a bit faster, given that the track, they lay a little bit of rubber from A group. Yeah. But so I don't think that's going to be much of a track condition thing for these drivers here. It's just more really about making it all work for one lap, and that's where Nojiri has been excelling this season. He's really, is able to be comfortable in qualifying, and he just doesn't seem to have any weight on his shoulders. He just goes out every time and puts that perfect lap time on the board without making any mistakes or without putting a foot wrong in qualifying. And that's so important. So it's so important.
He makes it look easy.
And on the other hand, Hirakawa, it seems to be kind of like a qualifying drama for Team Impel, and some sort of, thing that it can be a bit of a mental thing as well that's bothering them. How are we not going through Q1, and then, and then just that keeps happening on and on. But I mean, this is where this is basically the situation that we've seen throughout this season. So nothing different this time around. Nojiri on top, and unfortunately for Hirakawa is not going through Q1.
Not going through Q1. It's happened a couple of times already. That's true. And as we see in just a few minutes, we will go into Q2 from 9:55, and that will last till 10:02. That's just a couple of minutes up the road. We've got an interview in the meantime, and let's see what we've got next up in line. And let's see, is it... Okay,
見事
it's
A グループ B グルー
it's
プとも
excellent
に2台
boss.
揃って Q1 トップ通過、チーム無限田中監督、今週の流れは来ていますかね。
そうですね、昨日のフリー走行ではね、最後のコンディションがこうどう読むのかって非常に難しかったんですけども、それを踏まえて2台とも今日の予選にこうアジャストしてきたんですけども、9番終わってそれぞれトップ通過してますので、なんとかこのまま Q2 も上位狙えるように2人に頑張ってほしいです。
Q2 に向けてはアジャストなどマシンの方はありましたか。
はい、
マシンのアジャストは Q2 に向けてありましたか。
はい、微調整してます。はい、さらには上のタイム上げられるように、はい、調整してます。
はい、では2台揃って上位での、明日のグリッドを楽しみにしています。
はい、
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
以上です。
Okay, Len JP, that was Director Mugen Tanaka. And he was saying it was a difficult condition yesterday in the free practice because it was kind of crowded in the last moment in the free practice. But he was glad both of the cars topped the Q1, Group A, Group B. And he said they changed a little bit of setting for Q2, aiming for a pole position together. Back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Leah. That's very interesting indeed. As we get ready for Group B to start, just a few seconds away as they make final preparations for the cars to go out. Once again, this will be the top 12 drivers so far. Of course, Tomoki Nojiri leads the pack. His teammate Ukio Sasahara is part of that 12 as well. Yamashita follows, of course, and Sasha Finestras, both of the Kondo drivers are out there, both of the Dandelion drivers, Makino and Otsu as well. And of course, the team impul car of Sekiguchi, but not his teammate, followed by Nitomo Miata in the number 37 Tom's machine, and one of the Sermo Inging cars, the number 38 machine of Sho Tsuboi, will also join this group, or is part of this group, as is Nobuharu Matsushita in the number 50 BMAX Racing machine, and Yamamoto, three-time drivers champion Naoki Yamamoto in the number 64 TCS Nakajima Racing car is right beside his very impressive teammate Oyu, Toshiki Oyu, in the number 65 machine, who topped free practice this morning. So it should be interesting for the 5 Toyotas and 7 Honda powered machines this session, and very, very close. I'm super excited. This 7 minutes will go by like the blink of an eye as our champion, the carriage, Tomoki Nojiri in the number 1 machine with Sasahara right beside him as they get ready to get out on track for this final 7-minute session of qualifying today. Just making final adjustments before they get ready. The 7-minute session is scheduled to start as the minute ticks over to 55, just a few seconds away. And JP, is there anything you're looking for in particular? Is there any, I mean, obviously the easy question is where's Nojiri going to end up? And I think the answer is even easier than the question. But is there anything that you've just got to say?
I mean, it's a shorter session, 7 minutes, so I don't think they're going to be doing the warm-up lap as usual. Some of them might, that's going to be very close though. But yeah, I mean, we will see Team Mugen, who has been so strong so far, probably topping the times again. But there's always that close battle in Super Formula. You do one little thing in the car and you turn it on. So that can happen, but yeah, looking for Oyu as well. So definitely, it seems like the Honda drivers are getting a little bit of an upper hand this weekend in terms of pace here. Coincidentally, this is a Honda circuit, so yeah, they're all racing at home. But Oyu has been very strong yesterday. Strong today. Will he be able to put that lap together? So yeah, and Team Impel, they definitely want to put Sekiguchi in the front to kind of be there fighting with Nojiri, because they don't want Nojiri to run away, so they can put Sekiguchi in terms of a strategy as well, if he can go forward and have a strong qualifying.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's been so consistent, not just this year, but throughout his career. He's known for ending up third and fourth in the points, and often third and fourth in race results. Incredibly consistent and good results. Not first to seconds, that's true, but still points paying positions nonetheless. And so it is really amazing to see some of his results. He's had a 13th, 15th, and 17th this year, and it's just completely out of character for him. And we wish to see him back on full form as soon as possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, here we see, so cars, they
They
did
have
go
gone
out.
out
They
and
did have that
amazing.
warm-up lap. Sasha as well coming in. Actually, Kenta Yamashita as well. So both Kondo cars are doing a little bit of different strategy. One is just coming out of the pits now. The other was just coming in. Nojiri is in. Sasahara didn't go out, so it's a matter of preference whether you just have that warm-up lap or not.
And if you can make it work within that restricted amount of time.
Yeah, so now
of-
the drivers that were waiting in the pits, you see Sasha was just coming out in the pits now. You see that line of cars with 4.5 minutes to go. Nojiri coming out, so it's crowded. You know, it's all going to be, you know, from now on to starting the lap, just looking for that position.
Exactly, and hopefully having enough space between each of the cars that we don't get this bunching up like we saw before.
Here we see Makino still in the pits. I wonder
I
if
think he was
there
the
is any...
last to come back in, but
Yeah, he's going now with less than 4 minutes to go. So does he have a problem?
difficult to tell, but
Yeah,
certainly-
he has some sort of problem because I mean they gave him an okay to go and he stopped again. So
Oh, and he's shut it off.
yeah.
Ooh. So where did he end up in Group A? I don't have it here on my screen, but we'll see it momentarily. But that's going to affect him.
Yeah, that's weird. Like it's hard to tell what kind of problem he's dealing with, but it does not look like he's going to be able to come out in qualifying.
Looks like no drive.
Yeah, maybe he's not being able to put the gears on. You know, it can happen, but no idea.
And we see them all very closely packed up through the hairpin and coming down the backstretch. And you would expect, considering the time left, that people will start to build up again.
Len JP.
Oh yeah, he goes out.
Great stuff. Good news.
Yes, Leah.
Len JP. Sorry. Yeah, he was just waiting for the time to pit out. It wasn't there wasn't any trouble for his car. He just pitted out right now.
So
fantastic.
That's a very, very unusual strategy from Team Docomo here with Makino, because he went out with 2.5 minutes remaining. So he will have to push really hard on this warm-up lap.
Just to get to the point.
Just to get ahead of these cars who are already on their warm-up lap. You go out of the pits, you're gonna cross the start-finish line once, and then you're gonna do the warm-up lap and start your lap. But
he's not gonna have time.
Makino is, he's not gonna have enough time, so he will have basically an out lap and attack.
Yeah. No acclimatization at all.
It's interesting strategy from them. Maybe they went out earlier just to kind of to warm up the tire a little bit and then put him in that position, or not. I don't know, but it's definitely difficult to do just an out lap and attack.
Absolutely, and we've got no competitive times set yet. Of course, it is Nojiri with the fastest on track, but it's a 2 minutes flat, or 2 minutes .1, as we see coming around to start his attack lap. He finished his attack lap. Excuse me, I apologize. It's a 1:41.415.
No. So Sasha starts his lap now. He's just
because he's miles away. 1:41. So now we will start to see it tumble as people for the final attempt. Yamamoto remains second with Matsushita third, Makino fourth, and Tsuboi fifth, followed by Nojiri. But these times will all tumble in a matter of seconds. Here comes Nojiri now, and what's he come up to?
It's a good sector one for Sasha.
But is he quicker than before? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so far he's faster than in the first, in the QA, in the first qualifying session. So, but Yamamoto is going stronger in sector 2. So expect Yamamoto here to take provisional pole in this lap. We see Makino as well, but Yamamoto so far the standout. We see Sasahara on a slow, he's going slowly there.
Yeah, he's obviously given up. The time has come down to 0. He hasn't crossed the line. It's all over for him. And a 2:04 is not going to put him high up the grid or anywhere near. Well, it's nice.
So Sasha on 130.7 and then Makino on at 130.9, but Yamamoto is going to take provisional here with
Yamamoto has just done it. A 130.423. That's impressive. That is quick.
We see Oyu as well coming.
Yes, if Yamamoto is that
second
quick,
sector was not that strong, so he's P3 at the moment.
P3 there. 130.801. As Nojiri slots into fourth. It's quite surprising, isn't it? I thought Nojiri would be higher up, and a 130.8 is not all that quick, considering how much quicker he had gone, a 130.7 in the morning.
Yeah,
or in Group A, in Group B.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good lap from Yamamoto. I can tell you that because he just better all the sessions, and it does look like a 3/10 clear from Sasha, who has also a very strong qualifying. And then Oyu Nojiri also not taking up points from this qualifying session. That's a bit of a relief for Hirakawa. And then Sekiguchi only down in P10. But
quite amazing. It all ended up so differently than it seemed so promising at the start. But yeah, Sekiguchi will start only 3 spots ahead of his teammate Hirakawa.
Yeah, question mark there with Sasahara. You know, Sasahara just not attempting a lap, but Makino with that strategy that they played out on 5th place.
He did get 5th. That's right. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. 130.908. Yeah. So it did work for him. You could say it definitely worked. I mean, he's right behind Nojiri and less than a 10th away. But Naoki Yamamoto, a pole position winner today, absolutely tremendous result. They've had a couple of promising moments throughout the year, but nothing like this. So it's really, and you can see obviously Satoru Nakajima is so happy there with the result. And OU in 3rd is, you know, a fantastic backup, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, actually earlier this season we were talking about Yamamoto, and Yamamoto, you know, struggling for results last season and this season. And, you know, question marks start to appear for sure, like whether, you know, is he not up there in terms of pace anymore, or what's going on with him. But in the previous races, I've actually mentioned, like, I don't think this guy is a guy that we can count out, because I know him for many, many years, and I know how much of a fighter he is. And he just keeps pushing. He just never gives up. That's the kind of attitude he has. So he's back here, you know, the most experienced racer in Super Formula at the moment, but he's back there on top. And yeah, we'll see whether he can, you know, come and conclude this result later this afternoon. But impressive.
Yeah, impressive indeed. I must say it's great. And to see them 1st and 3rd is just fantastic, just excellent. we used to see it so much. Nakajima Racing used to be so strong over the years, but of late it hasn't been the same. And so this is very promising indeed. First and third, a great result for TCS Nakajima Racing. And of course, both those cars in the 130s. And as it turns out, top 7 were within the 130, right down to Yamashita. In the number 3 machine from Kondo, 1:39.62. So healthy times indeed. And it's all to play for in the race, which will be coming to us in what, 4 hours time, or maybe is it around 4 hours time? It's 4 hours and 20 minutes time from now. We will have the race coming to you live from here, and it will be, of course, the first of 2 37-lap events at the 4.8 kilometer track. That makes 177 kilometers or thereabouts, about 111 miles. The race distance has also a time limit, and it is expected to take 75 minutes under normal conditions, with a delay of up to 20 minutes. So if there's a delay of 20 minutes or more, they will stop the clock after 95 minutes running. So it's been a very exciting qualifying session. It's a bit of a surprise, I have to say, to see where almost everybody in the top 4 or 5 is. But great to see Sasha in second, of course, and of course his teammate in 7th. So a good result for Kono, great result for Nakajima Racing, absolutely. And Team Mugen, well, he didn't score any points for qualifying today, but our drivers' champion Tomoki Nojiri has space in hand. He has 29 points ahead of his nearest rival, who didn't score at all today. That is, of course, Ryo Hirakawa, who will start down in 13th. And so that should be interesting. So Nojiri, despite not getting any qualifying points, he's still safe, and he's still miles ahead.
Yeah, we're just looking at the garage here at Nakajima Racing. You see Oyu just is sitting in the car after qualifying, shaking his head. It does seem like maybe he's not happy with this qualifying result, even though he finished 3rd. You know, I mean, seeing your teammate being on pole position, you probably know that, you know, that's the guy you have to beat. That's the guy you want to beat. And he does seem disappointed over there. But I wouldn't be disappointed if I was in 3rd place. You know, still auto play in the race, so he will have opportunities. You see Sasha there, very happy. But this man, Naoki, you see, he's, you know, I feel that he's emotional with this result, and I mean that's in a, you know, it's in a good way, because this guy, I know that there's been some worries about his performance recently, and you know, especially the switch to Nakajima Racing, and then from then on, no more results. But you know, he's been fighting through, punching, and here he is at the top. So
he's still loyal.
I don't doubt Naoki. I know how much talent he has. So it's good to see him on the top. Yeah, this man here, Oyu, seems a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised. I mean, since he did so well, and by a quarter of a second this morning, eclipsing the rest, I can see why he would be disappointed. But still, a 3rd place result is not bad. He's starting right behind his teammate, of course, on the grid. So maybe that's what's got him disappointed. But still, great result, 1st and 3rd, and everything to play for in the race.
Exactly. So. Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting in terms of championship as well, because I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, for Hirakawa, that, you know, Nojiri did not get any points. So let's see this interview here.
中島レーシング山本直樹選手です。おめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。
苦しい状況が続く中で、この地元でモテギで、ポールポジション、今のお気持ちをお聞かせください。
素直に嬉しいですし、ここまで本当に結果という結果が何一つ残せないで1年半過ごしてきたので、まず迷惑と苦労をかけたチームの皆さん、中島監督、本当に関わってくれたスタッフの皆さん、本当にすべての皆さんにまずは感謝しています。
Q1 も決して悪くはなかったと思うんですが、Q2 に向けて何かこのポジションを得られる手応えというのはつかめていたんでしょうか。
正直ポールポジションを取れるほどの、スピードというか力はちょっと見出せてなかったんですけども、昨日から大湯選手が ずっと速かったですし、彼のデータだったり走りも参考にさせてもらいながら、うまく64号車のチームでうまくまとめて、で Q2 に対しても自信を持って走ることができたということがこの結果につながったかなと思いますし、Q1 がギリギリだったのでちょっとの差で7番手で Q2 に進めてなければこの結果もなかったので、改めてスーパーフォーミュラの難しさも感じましたし、やっぱり一番嬉しいです。
はい、ズバリですね、昨日のフリー走行とは全く違うコンディションの、アタックだったと思うんですが、今日の予選、ご自身のアタック、そしてチーム力、ご自身での評価いかがですか？
毎回うまくやろうと心がけてはいるんで、別に特別このレースにかけて変えたことっていうのはないんですけど、全てにおいてその自分の場所だったりとかペースの上げ方だったりとか、そういうものが全てうまく自分の方に風が吹いたなっていう感じがしたので、ただとはいえそこにはやっぱ車だったりとか自信を持って走れるパッケージがなければこの結果は得られなかったので、本当に皆さんの努力をちょっと報いることができて、まず一つ予選でポールポジションを取れたっていうのは嬉しいです。しっかりと決勝でもいい位置からスタートできるので、結果に何としてでもつなげたいなと思ってます。
はい、この2連戦、まずかなりいい流れを作れたと思います。地元のファンの皆さんに向けてもメッセージをお願いします。
はい、地元ということでたくさんの方、あとは地元外からも一戦応援してくださっている方たくさんいます。そして今回母校の作新学院の小学部の生徒さんを招待してなんとかいいところを見せたいと思ってここに来たので、少しいいところが見せられたかなと思いますし、また決勝でも見せられるように頑張りたいなと思ってます。
はい、見事山本選手の貫禄のアタック見せていただきました。ポールポジションおめでとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございます。
以上です。
Len JP, that was an interview from Naoki Yamamoto, who just got a pole position and first time in this season. He's saying he was having a difficult season from the start and now, but he was simply so happy to get a pole position today, and he was causing many troubles for teams and everyone in the team. So he really wants to thank for the team, for everyone. And in qualifying, he wasn't feeling a speed for pole position, but yesterday OU was pretty good, so he had a confidence for the car. And he did nothing special for this race because he is preparing 100% for every race. And he is saying he's looking forward for the race after and then win at the home circuit today. Back to you.
Great stuff. What fantastic to see him back on top. That is amazing. And look at that. There he is, ahead of Sasha Fenestras. That is great. Look at that starting order, folks. Yamamoto leads there with Fenestras he will be second on the grid, followed by Toshiki Oyu, and of course Nojiri, our championship leader, followed by Makino Tsuboi, Yamashita, Nobuharu Matsushita, our Suzuka winner earlier this year, and then Miata, Sekiguchi, Otsu, and Sasahara, the top 6 rows of the grid. The race will get underway in approximately 4 hours' time. And in the meantime, we just want to celebrate the 50,000 followers on Super Formula's official Twitter and YouTube channels. And to celebrate that, we are offering this program to be live streamed for free. So it'll be live streamed for free. Just spread the word and enjoy it with friends. We have, as we say, 50,000 followers on our Super Formula official Twitter and YouTube channels. And to celebrate it, we are offering round 7 for free. So please tell your friends and stream it and watch the racing action. So this has been round 7 qualifying of the 2022 Super Formula season. Thank you to JP and to our pit reporter, Ria Mizumura. JP, do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, Len. I mean, after the interview from Naoki, you could see how emotional he is, and yeah, as Leah was translating to us, I could, we can see, how much he was feeling like he needed a good result like this, and he knows this is just a little step forward, and he knows that there's a lot more to do. But I have confidence that Naoki, given the right conditions, he can still be at pace with these guys. So yeah, I mean, very happy for him, very happy for this result. Good qualifying session this morning, and yeah, let's looking forward to the race this afternoon. Also, thanks for everyone watching. And all the viewers around the world, 50,000, impressive numbers. So good if we can keep increasing that number.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. And Leah, do you have any closing comments before we go? Nope, maybe she is busy chasing.
Well, actually, I'm working down on the pit lane right now, but at the circuit, we are preparing for another race for the N1 Owners Cup, and I'm really looking for the race a few hours later. And I'll get back to you with the information from the pit lane later, so talk to you.
Talk to you soon, Leah. Thanks very much, and thanks, JP. Thanks to all the Super Formula fans around the world watching the broadcast. We will be back in 4 hours' time. All the race.